Parshas Shoftim Elul Tafshin Pei Vav. First of all, thank you so much to my special video crew here that I have this week with me here in Yerushalayim. And Baruch Hashem, with all our new technology, and also we're working on the audio very much. I want to thank everybody who's behind that too. So now that we're beginning Chodesh Elul, so what we try to do is we try to reach into our Parsha, and within the Parsha, not just to learn a lesson of the Parsha, but also to learn a lesson that can give us some ideas of how to improve ourselves and how to be and how to become better people during Chodesh Elul. And the beginning of our Parsha is a perfect pasuk, says the Nesivos Shalom Shoftim v'shoitrim titen lecha b'chol shi'orecha. That we should have Shoftim and Shoitrim by all of our shi'orecha. And over the years, we've said many different pieces of the Nesivos Shalom. The Nesivos Shalom speaks about this pasuk in many different ways and angles. And some of them are not just explanations on the Parsha, but it's also lessons for Chodesh Elul. And we're going to go through one of them right now. And the Noam Elimelech, Zechusa Yagan Aleinu, explains this pasuk, the first pasuk in our Parsha, in a beautiful way. And the Nesivos Shalom takes that lesson from the Noam Elimelech and applies it to every person, and something that every one of us could take with us toward Rosh Hashanah. And he bases it, Noam Elimelech bases it on the Gemara in Masechta Brachos, Daf Samach Aleph Amud Beis. The Gemara says something very interesting. Tzadikim Yetzer Toiv Shoftan. For the tzaddikim of this world, the Yetzer Toiv Shoftam, so to speak, I'm going to just say the Pashut Pshat, they are being ruled by their Yetzer Toiv, right? Which would technically make a lot of sense. Tzaddikim are ruled by the Yetzer Toiv. The Gemara continues, Rishoim Yetzer Hara Shoftam, which also on the surface, if you're just understanding it the way the words mean, that Yetzer Hara rules the life of a Rasha, and that's another thing also we could sort of understand that. But the Maimer Chazal doesn't end over there. It's Beinonim Zeh v'Zeh Shoftan, by somebody who's just a regular person, which would probably be most people. So they are being, so to speak, ruled by their Yetzer HaToiv and their Yetzer Hara. And the idea is to find the balance. The idea is to find a way to battle and to encourage at the same time in different ways. So how does that really work? And the Nesivos Shalom explains beautifully. See, normally we would think, Pashut Pshat, that a tzaddik, of course, the Yetzer HaToiv is what rules his life. And a Rasha, of course, it's the Yetzer Hara that he's giving into, and the Yetzer Hara that's really leading the life of a Rasha. Says in the Nesivos Shalom, let's understand this in a different way. And he says like this: a tzaddik is always watching himself, right? What's a tzaddik? He's always watching himself and being careful with everything that he does. Mamish, he tries to do everything in the right way, with the right kavanas and the right intentions and the right everything. A tzaddik is always like, I don't want to use the word nervous, because we're not looking for people to be nervous, but a tzaddik is always thinking, trying to be very careful that everything that he does is just in the right way. But says in the Nesivos Shalom, but the Yetzer HaToiv is always giving the tzaddik musar. And you have to know how to use that musar in the right way. The Yetzer HaToiv is always asking him, oh, very nice that you're doing something good, but are you doing enough? Maybe you could be better. Maybe you could do it in a different way. Maybe it's not enough. And that Yetzer HaToiv pushing you is not always the healthiest thing, because if a person thinks that whatever they do is not enough, then eventually they're going to give up. And they're not going to continue to do the right thing, because after a while they're going to feel, yeah, I'm trying to do the right thing, I'm doing the right thing, but everything that I do is never good enough. The Yetzer HaTov is always asking, maybe you could do better, maybe you could do better. And that's what it means, that the Yetzer HaTov rules the life of a tzaddik, and he has to know how to use that in the right way, because the Yetzer HaTov, in a certain way, is asking the tzaddik if he's ever up to par. Are you being mekayim those mitzvahs in the optimal way? So the Yetzer HaTov of a tzaddik is ruling over the tzaddik and asking all these questions and always demanding more. And then we have the next step. The next step is brought down that by the Rishonim, the Yetzer Hara rules a Russia's life. Pashut, we would think, if you just learn these words, Pashut, like we said, it's very understood. A Yetzer Hara is always on top of the Russia, and the Russia is falling victim to the Yetzer Hara. So the Yetzer Hara is ruling. Says in Nesivos Shalom something different. The Yetzer Hara makes a person think that everything you're doing is perfect. Everything that you're doing is fine. And that's what it means, the Yetzer Hara rules the life of a Rasha. Because what's happening? A person who's transgressing, Averis, Chatoim, he's transgressing things, so eventually he might feel guilty about it, which would be the right way. He might feel guilty about it and want to improve himself. So the Yetzer Hara comes to a person who is doing things wrong, and he's not going to tell him, you know what, I'm going to make you do more and more Averis, more and more things wrong. What the Yetzer Hara tells a person who we're going to call them a Rasha just for the purpose of the Lashon of the Gemara, the Yetzer Hara is coming to the person and saying, don't worry, you're good. You're good. You're doing everything right. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. He'll always find an excuse. Nothing is your fault. It's just the circumstances. You always have good reasons and good excuses and good intentions. Don't worry about it. You're good. You're good. You're good. The word, one of the catchwords of the 21st century, right? And everything. I'm good. I'm good. And that comes from the Yetzer Hara, because really you're not good. You need to improve yourself. So the Yetzer Hara comes to a person who's doing things wrong, and he'll always tell him, don't worry, your intentions are good, you're good. And it's really, really not so good. It's all excuses for doing things that are really, really not meeting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's expectations. So this person is being ruled by the Yetzer Hara, because you're never going to get out of it, because he's going to keep telling you that you're fine. But the Nesivos Shalom says, believe it or not, a person has to know to take the Yetzer Hara as we spoke about it, and the Yetzer HaTov, a person has to know to do the shleimus is really in a person who's a Beinani. What does a Beinani mean? A Beinani means most of us, well, we have our challenges, we have our good days, we have our rough days, but we have to know that the shleimus comes in knowing how to balance both of those. And of course, the Nesivos Shalom continues and gives us examples and tells us how to do that. A person who's a Beinani has the Yetzer Hara and the Yetzer HaTov, and the person is using both of those together. And I venture to say that most of us fall into that category, so we should be listening in right now, and we're going to have a lesson that we can live by for Chodesh Elul. On one hand, we need to know the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Mishnah in Pirkei Avos tells us, Perek Beis, that Al Tihi Rasha b'fnei atzmecha. A person has to know, even if you've done many, many things wrong, and even if you've done things that are not meeting the expectations of yourself, of your parents, of your rabbeim, of your friends, and of course of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a person has to know and to remember that every mitzvah that you do and every good deed that a person does is accepted by Hashem. Remember what we said, that the Yetzer HaTov in that way might come to a person and say, maybe you're not good enough, maybe you have to do things better. So a person's going to give up and think, what about all the stuff? What about all the things that I am doing? You're going to give up and say, I'm not accomplishing anything. Al Tihi Rasha b'fnei atzmecha. A person has to know in your mind, no, you're not a Rasha. you're a good person. And Hashem is accepting. Hashem understands that you're not perfect. Hashem understands that you have to grow. So we have to be cognizant of that Hashem does accept us and Hashem is happy with us. He wants us to improve. He wants us to work, but Hashem is happy with us. While at the same time, we have to understand that there's the flip side. We have to understand our shortcomings, to know that every one of us has things that we can improve. The Gemara Masechta Brachos, Daf Nun Daled Amud Aleph, tells us, "V'yohavtas Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha." We just read it in the Parsha very recently. "V'yohavtas Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha." The Gemara Masechta Brachos tells us that what does it mean b'chol levavcha? B'shnei yitzrecha. You have to love Hashem in order to serve Hashem with love. B'shnei yitzrecha, to use both your Yetzer HaTov and your Yetzer Hara to your advantage. You have to understand, to learn the lessons of both of them. We have to know how to serve Hashem with both the Yetzer HaTov and the Yetzer Hara. And the pasuk in our parsha says, "Shoftim v'shoitrim titan lecha b'chol she'arecha." The Shoftim and the Shoitrim, the Yetzer Hara, which is the Shofet, and the Yetzer HaTov, which is the Shoiter, Titan Lecha B'chol She'arecha. You have to know how to use both midos. You have to know how to use your Yetzer HaTov and the Yetzer Hara. If your Yetzer HaTov is always telling you that you could do more and nothing is good enough, you have to stop right there, because you have to understand that if you keep thinking that, you're going to give up eventually. You can't do that. You need to remember that Hashem is happy with you. Hashem loves you. Hashem loves you the way you are. Yes, He wants you to work on things, but He wants you to improve them. And while you're improving it, Hashem is accepting you also. And if you just listen to Yetzer Hara telling you that you are super and you're always amazing and everything that you do is mamish gewaldig and the camera crew is enjoying this so much, that if you're just going to listen to the Yetzer Hara tell you that everything is wonderful, then you're never going to have the drive and the desire to grow. So we need to understand, Bishnei Yitzrecha, we need to know that you have to have that mix of confidence and of honesty about our shortcomings to have the best opportunity, especially in Chodesh Elul, to grow. Chodesh Elul is the month that's called the Chodesh Harachamim. The next 40 days from now, Rosh Chodesh Elul, until Yom Kippur, are 40 days where HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if He loves us a whole year, He loves us even more now. We could use the Yetzer HaTov and the Yetzer Hara both to our advantage, to take out those lessons, to work on ourselves, and to understand that the more we love Hashem and the more we work on ourselves, and the more we understand these lessons and the balance of is that no, we're not so super. We have things to do, but at the same time, we have to understand that Hashem loves us the way we are right now. And Hashem wants us to just continue. Elul, all the Balei Musar tell us that these huge Kabbalahs and these huge life-changing things and everything, those are not the things that work. Person, whatever you're doing, do a little more, learn a few extra minutes, be a little bit nicer to the people around you, do something, do an extra little chesed, join one little extra shir, add a little Torah to your life, add a little chesed to your life, add some friendliness to your life. That's what Hashem wants to see. Hashem loves you the way you are now, but Hashem wants to see that you're working on yourself. And that's the way we're going to begin Chodesh Elul, Mirz Hashem, over the next few weeks. We're hoping that everybody's going to come join us here in Yerushalayim, but just in case not, the next few weeks when we head back to our home, we don't want to call it home, head back to our regular shir place that we're going to take each week. We're going to learn another lesson. Mirz Hashem, everyone will be zoicha to a ksiva v'chasima toiva and a wonderful, beautiful Elul with simcha, to grow with simcha.